Hello my dear students. Today we are going to start new topic, the importance of elasticity of demand. So now here importance means what are the benefits, what are the advantages of studying this elasticity of demand in our practical life. So how this concept is going to help us, how this concept is going to help the consumers, producers as well as government. So this concept, the price elasticity of demand or the concept of this elasticity of demand is equally important for every one of us, whether it is a consumer, producers or government. So we will discuss the various importance of price elasticity of demand. Number one, we have business decisions. So now I am going to explain how this concept of elasticity of demand will help in taking the various decisions in business. So this price concept of this elasticity of demand play a very important role in taking the economic decisions regarding the prices and output. Now when we are talking about the prices, so in which case the producers, if they increases the price, then that will not affect the total revenue. So suppose the commodity, we know that there are two types of goods, elastic and inelastic. Now here you have to know the example of this elastic goods as well as inelastic goods. So in the case of inelastic, we have fuel, textbook, we can take medicine, etc. And in the case of elastic good, we can consider different electronic gadgets like cell phone, cool drinks, etc. Now we have to understand how, if the producers increases the price in the case of inelastic good, then that will not affect the demand by much. Whereas in the case of elastic goods, if the producers increases the price, then that will affect the demand for this type of commodity. At the same time, that also reduces the total revenue of the producers or firm. Now let's consider this fuel or the textbook. So if the producers increases the prices of this item, then more or less the quantity demand will remain same. And if the quantity demand remains same, means the total revenue generated from this item will increase. Here the revenue will not decrease because of that increase in price, because these are the essential items, and in this case if they are willing to increase the price, that will be beneficial for them because that will generate more revenue. Whereas in the case of this type elastic type of goods or the goods which have more number of substitutes, so in that case if the producers increases the price, then what will happen that the consumers have many options. Instead of purchasing these cool drinks of one variety, they may purchase the another item. So what happens that the revenue, the total revenue of the producers may decrease if they increases the price of this item. So before increasing the price of any items, the producers must have the knowledge of this elasticity of demand. So in which case it will be profitable to increase the price, and in which case it will be a loss for them to increase the price. So item in which if they increases the price in the case of this elastic good, so that will not be much beneficial. Whereas in the case of inelastic item, if they increases the price, then that will be beneficial for them, and this will generate more revenue for the producers. The second importance we have, importance to monopolist. Now before going to the concept of this monopolist, we have to understand this term monopoly. So monopoly means a market in which there is a single seller and large number of buyers. So monopoly represents here single seller and large number of buyers. Now next, how it will help the concept of this one to the monopolies. So in the case of monopoly market, what happens that there is a price discrimination. They pursue the concept of this price discrimination. Now what is price discrimination? Price discrimination means selling the same products to different consumers at the different prices, or selling the same product in a two different market at the different prices. Suppose say commodity X, we have commodity X. Now I am going to sell this commodity in a two market A and a market B. So when we sell this commodity in market A and market B, and if we charge different prices, suppose in market A I am charging rupees 10 for same item, whereas in market B I am charging rupees 15 for same item. So this type of concept is called price discrimination, means selling the same product in a two different market at the different prices, or selling same product to the different consumers at the different prices. So that concept is called price discrimination. Okay, here I will take one more example. Suppose say electricity. Now in the case of electricity, this is usually sold by the government. Government is only the producers of this electricity. But if we see the prices charged for the same electricity in the different region, we can find some difference. So especially in the case of cities and village, the rate per unit charge will be different by the government. So in the case of cities, the electricity charge may be high, or the rate of, or the price of that electricity may be, you can say, or price of that electricity may be high. Whereas if the same electricity they are using it for the domestic purpose, then their price or their charge may be less. The government may charge least price for same electricity. So here we can see that electricity is one of the product, but the price of that product are different in the case of two different market. In the cities, the price may be high for the same electricity, whereas in the case of village, the price charged by the government may be less. So here, in this case, if the government increases the price of that electricity in the case of cities, where the demand for that electricity is inelastic, then consumer even will purchase at the higher prices. Whereas in the village area, if they charge higher price, many consumers may not be able to afford that, and the total revenue generated by the government may decrease. The third factor we have determination of factor prices. So next, this important concept of this elasticity is also applicable in determining the factor prices. Here factor prices means wages of the labor. Now we know that in every organization there is a trade union. So what is the objective of trade union? The trade union usually fight for the right of the workers. So if the trade union is trying to increase, or if they are bargaining for the higher wages, then it will be beneficial for the trade union to bargain for the higher wages only when the demand for labor is inelastic. If the demand for labor is elastic, in that case, if the trade union is demanding for higher wages, that may not be effective. In that case, the entrepreneur or the organization may reduce the number of laborers and the unemployment problem may increase. So here in this case, if the demand for labor is, if demand for labor is inelastic, if the demand for labor is inelastic, in this case it will be profitable to demand for the higher wages. Otherwise, if the demand for labor is elastic, then the producers may not be able to increase the wages for the laborers. At the same time, the unemployment problem may rise in the economy. Next point, we have point number 4. Now, the concept of elasticity of demand is also equally important for the formulation of government policy. So here, government policy means when, for example, we can consider like taxation. Taxation or subsidy. In the case of taxation, if a government impose the taxes like GST or excise duties randomly, then that may affect the revenue of the government. So before imposing any type of tax by the government to the producers, they must have some knowledge about the concept of elasticity of demand. Then only they will be able to impose the taxes depending on the type of commodity. So here, if the government imposes excise duty or GST on the item which have inelastic demand, then that will generate, more revenue for the government. Whereas in the case of items like which have elastic demand, and in the case of elastic demand, if government imposes more taxes like GST or excise duty, then that may affect the demand. And if demand decreases, means production will also decrease, and at the same time that may affect the revenue generation of the government. Now point number 5, we have explanation of paradox of plenty. So here the concept of elasticity of demand is also useful for explaining this paradox of plenty. Paradox of plenty in agriculture. Now we have to understand what is the paradox of plenty. So paradox of plenty means here the production of bumper food crops, and we know that the demand for agricultural product is inelastic. So when there is a bumper production of food grains or food crops, that instead of increasing the revenue of the farmers, it may decrease the revenue of that farmers, because when there is a sufficient production or bumper production, that reduces the price. Because of that oversupply of commodity in the market, the prices may decrease, and when prices decreases, that may reduce the income of the farmers, because we know that the agricultural items have inelastic demand. Agricultural products have inelastic demand. So in the case of inelastic demand, the people will demand the commodity only in a limited quantity. They cannot purchase the agricultural item in a large quantity and store it for the future use. So here if the price of that agricultural item continuously decreases, then the farmers may incur huge loss. So in order to avoid that loss, what the government usually do, that government fixes the minimum support price, that is called MSP, minimum support price. And what is minimum support price? Minimum support price is the price at which the government purchase the surplus of food items from the farmers at a reasonable price, so that the farmers will not incur any losses and they may keep their interest in the farming. Now point number 5, we have incidence of taxation. So here the incidence of taxation refers to the person who ultimately pays the tax. Now the incidence of taxation will be more on the consumers or will be more on the producers. It depends on the elasticity of demand, or we can say that whether the incidence of tax is on the buyers or sellers depends on the elasticity of demand. Here, higher the elasticity of demand, more burden will be on the sellers. Once again, higher the elasticity of demand, more burden will be on the sellers. Now on the other hand, if the commodity is more inelastic, then the burden will be more on the consumers. So government, when they imposes taxes like excise duties or sales tax or GST, they have to see whether the burden will be more for the consumers or the producers. So that depends on the elasticity of demand. If higher the elasticity of demand, more burden will be on the sellers. If the commodity is inelastic, more burden will be for the consumers. So these points we have this importance of elasticity of demand is important for 6 marks. This question counts for 6 marks in your ISC exam. So question may be asked in this way: explain any 4 importance of elasticity of demand. So you can choose any 4 points, whichever you feel easier, you can choose and explain.